we're ready to go. Stepping in is Michaela Isaac, and the ball going to come
right to
virtually into our laps. And Sacramento State will start with possession here to open this 2018 Big Sky tournament. Dawson, get it into Scott. It'll be interesting to see how Sac State responds in a half-court set to start this game early.
Right, Montana coming out in man-to-man, which they have played a lot of zone defense this year, John, so interesting that they started in man.
Lady Grizz trying to push the ball, shot in and out, tipped out of bounds, and it'll go over to the Hornets. Interesting kind of mixture there. You see Sac State starting a half court, and then Montana goes in a full court scrum down the floor to try and score, and they can't. We're still tied. Three-pointer, and that's going to open up the scoring.
And a Friend right there.
Friend, a third-team All-Big Sky player, and that allows the Hornets to do what they do so well, Krista, and that's set up a full-court press.
Definitely. They do try to rattle these Montana guards, but you look at Maddie Schoening, Mackenzie Johnston, and Taylor Gogolowski, all veteran players at this point. They've started for 2 years for Montana. They can break a press. But again, Sac State trying to take ticks off the shot clock here, and you'll notice right now we're down to 8 seconds.
5 on the shot. Lady Grizz trying to drive inside with Golagowski. Now they're going to work baseline. Jackknifing up a shot. It's off the mark. And a shot clock violation for the Lady Grizz.
You're Sac State, you're feeling pretty good about that possession.
Definitely the start that Sac State wants to open with. Another 3-ball. That's in and out. Lady Grizz will rebound. And this showcases how important it is for Sac State to hit shots, because that's what allows them to set up that press. Lady Grizz back the other way. Schoening on the angle left.
Montana having Isaac run the baseline. Little high-low action between Haley Nicholson and Michaela Isaac.
Out top, that's a long 2. It's off the mark for Nicholson. And Sac State comes right back. 3-0, Hornets lead it. Trying to feed the post low inside. It's stolen away by the Lady Grizz. Fast break 3-on-3. 8-foot baseline J off the mark. 2 minutes into the game, Montana still scoreless. Sac State going all the way to the rim and off the mark.
You think a little bit of nerves too, John, early on. First team to kick off here, both teams, first game.
Golagowski able to hit the free throw jumper. Lady Grizz on the board, trailing 3-2. Driving inside, Hannah Friend. Foul's going to be called. So the foul goes on Michaela Isaac. That'll be her first personal. Friend sits at the free throw line. Hannah Friend, a 74% free throw shooter on the season. She's a transfer into this program, Krista, and it's amazing as she came in from the University of Delaware. What a mark she's made already in her short time in a Hornet uniform.
Absolutely, a 6-foot sophomore listed as a guard. She's got size, long and lanky. She has definitely been an offensive presence for this Sacramento State team. That looked like an over and back just now.
Well, the 3 points of contact, she was able to keep one established in the backcourt, and that kept her alive there. 3-pointer on the outside. That's going to be off the mark. Lady Grizz able to corral the offensive rebound, and now they'll reset with 27 on the shot clock.
Montana has moments where they look stagnant on offense, and there's not a lot of movement. They pride themselves on movement on offense.
Golagowski trying to drive inside, instead turns it up for a 10-footer in the lane, and count the basket for Johnston. Hornets push back the other way. Justice Dawson, who Bunky Harkleroad's called an elite athlete. Friend outside, she's gonna go ISO and take the 3. It's off the mark. Lady Grizz with the rebound. Try and push it with some tempo.
They like to look for their early opportunities, this Montana team, but they do not want to play to Sac State's up and down tempo.
Baseline jumper in and out for Schoening. It's going to go out of bounds and will remain with the Lady Grizz.
Caitlin Lonergan in there off the bench for Montana. The 6'2" sophomore was a volleyball player for Montana State.
Yeah, you don't see player go from MSU to Montana very often. Elbow jumper, in and out.
She's a Bozeman girl too, so sometimes wanting to get out of where you're at and where you grow up.
Deep three, that's gonna be off the mark. Friend tried it, offensive rebound though, and score the bucket for Reagan Roan.
She's averaging just under 6 points for Sac State, so obviously a player you have to keep your eye on the offensive end.
Lady Grizz trailing 7-4. Coming up on 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Driving inside. And fouled is Nicholson, and she'll go to the line to shoot two. You know, you look, Krista, at this Montana program, the success they've had over the years, the expectations that they've built. It is still somewhat strange to see them playing in an 8-9 game early in the tournament.
It's definitely unfamiliar territory for Montana.
But what they've had in the last couple of years in terms of turnover and injuries to key positions, definitely an improvement this year for Shannon Schwann's squad.
They've had some diversity and some interesting cards that have been dealt their way. They have responded throughout the season and tried to put their best foot forward, changing the guard between Robin Selvig and Shannon Schwann, and slightly different philosophies.
Long three for Sac St. That's going to be off the mark. Quick rebound back the other way for Johnston. She's got Dawson in her hip pocket. Handoff pass to Schoening. Inside, they're going to try to feed the post, off the mark. But an offensive rebound, and it looks like a double dribble.
Haley Nicholson, though, I do like her taking it to the hole and her aggressiveness from the start for this Montana team. I do know that they like that high-low action between Haley Nicholson and Caitlin Lonergan. And Caitlin missed that shot, but she has done a great job this year on getting good positioning and commanding that presence at the low block.
Dawson out top. Swings it around to Maranne Johnson, one of the most decorated three-point shooters in all of college basketball. Back out top, Johnson gonna drive inside, take it all the way to the lane, scoop and score.
That is what Maranne does so well. I have watched her for many years, and she will take it to you. If she sees any hole, she loves to take it to the basket.
Hornets trying that press. Ball's tipped out of bounds, will remain with the Lady Grizz. We've got a timeout on the floor. Sacramento State out to an early.
Here, I think they lost track of Hannah Friend early on, as she has 5 of Sac State's 9 points. Fairly early, but I would have to say that Sac State came out with more of an offensive presence.
One thing Montana has done exceptionally well, though, is get offensive rebounds. Even though they haven't hit early, something that you definitely feel will be of great benefit to them if they can continue with that. Is 16 on the shot clock for Montana. Driving inside, putting up a shot in and off the glass.
Got to hand it to the Sac State defense, too, making it really difficult for Montana to pass around on the perimeter.
Dawson to the hoop, unable to hit the shot, but an offensive rebound. His friend going to drive inside. Loses the ball on the floor. It'll be a jump ball, and possession will go to Montana.
You'll see Mackenzie Johnston on the floor. She is a scrapper for this Montana team, playing over 35 minutes a game. She is in on most plays, John, and she's always the one to give you the hustle and to give you that extra burst. She has been a leader for this Montana team on both ends of the floor.
No doubt about that. Lady Grizz trying to find their way, shooting just 20% in this game to this point. Foul on Sac State.
Montana's offense is all about angles, too, passing angles. And Sac State is making it difficult for any use of the high post at all, and it's taking Montana out of their familiarity.
Yeah, look at how far they are. Back close to midcourt, starting their offense. Driving inside is Johnston. Long three-pointer is going to be off the mark for Stockholm, and quickly back are the Hornets. Johnson Gonna try to drive baseline, goes all the way to the hoop for the scoop and score.
You got to know where she is if you're Montana. Again, you just love that Maranne has that tenacity to just take it to the hole.
Long two, off the mark for the Lady Grizz. Sac State able to corral the rebound. Scott trying to turn on the burner. She'll try to drive, instead stops and pops out to Friend. Johnson, deep for three, it's off the mark. Friend doing a great job of cutting off Schoening, who was trying to drive lane. Step inside, long two, that's gonna be hard off the iron for Stockholm, out of bounds, and the Hornets once again have possession.
One inconsistency that Montana has struggled with is if they're not making shots, it affects their defense. They have a tendency to just kind of be straight up, not moving their feet, not communicating, and that's something that they've had this year, and they haven't been able to put together a full basketball game where they've been able to put both ends of the court together.
You talk about that inconsistency. The Lady Grizz 0 for their last 8 as we got a foul down low on Montana.
Losing Sophia Stiles was tough in the North Dakota game for Montana. She provided a great spark on the defensive end, and again, this team was forced to reinvent themselves towards the latter part of conference, which is always challenging for a coach. John.
Hornets get the ball inside.
Offensive foul.
Offensive foul called against Sacramento.
So not what Bunky Harkle-Road was looking for coming out of that timeout set.
Talk about the physicality of this tournament too. They let a lot go in the women's game, I think, more than they do the men's game. And you have to play to that. John, you have to be ready to come to play and be physical.
Deep three for the Lady Grizz. That's going to be hard off the front of the iron by Stockholm. Montana continues to struggle offensively. Now 0 for their last 9. The Hornets trying to take advantage of that. Instead, it's going to be a turnover. Easy scoop and score for Johnston, and the Lady Grizz break a scoreless drought. Trail 11-7.
Good things happen when you get after it on the defensive end.
Tussle for the ball. It's going to end in a jump. Sac State will have it.
Montana, no stranger to the shooting woes. It's been a struggle off and on, especially in the latter half of conference play.
Yeah, the Lady Grizz started so hot, 5-1 to start league play, then came back with a 4-game losing streak, up and scoring for Doty. The senior from New Orleans, came up from Trinity Valley Community College. Deep three.
Nora Click, the Great Falls product, getting Montana going.
You know a little something about some of those Great Falls products.
I do. She's a former Lady Bison.
The Lady Grizz back within 3. Driving all the way to the lane and scoring it off the glass is Scott. That's one thing that Sac State has shown early here, Krista. They have the ability to drive into the paint and get good looks.
Definitely. If you're Montana, you got to stop that. You got to come up with a defensive help situation or be aware of where these key players are.
Coming inside, Stockholm coming in for the score. 15-12 Sac State. Hornets back the other way quick. Friend matched up ISO with Click. It's going to be hard off the glass, but Doty corrals it before finally Montana gains possession. Quick pass ahead. Johnston, turnaround Jay, and the Lady Grizz are within 1.
Sierra Anderson, risky pass there to Mackenzie Johnston.
Yeah. Dawson going to dribble it out with 5 on the game clock. Inside, goes all the way to the hoop, gets it back, and the shot is off the mark. Well, we thought we'd have a close start, and it's turned out to be that way. Sac State leads at 15. You know, in the youth and inexperience, which I know Shannon Schwain's talked a lot about, how long does it take a young team to get into tournament rhythm?
I think there isn't a lot of time to get used to things here. You're one and done.
Not a stellar offensive performance. Both teams shooting under 35%. Lady Grizz 6 of 20 in that opening quarter. Shot is rattling home for Johnston, and the Lady Grizz with the lead, 16-15.
Mackenzie showing all avenues of her play.
Sac State takes the lead right back as Maranne Johnson able to get to the hoop. 6 points for her in this contest. Setting up that press, and again, if it does nothing else, Krista, it takes 6 to 7 seconds off the shot clock every time.
That's Coach Huckleroad's plan there, is to take ticks off the shot clock.
Shot off the mark, out of bounds, will remain with Montana. Veteran officiating crew in this game. Lady Grizz get the ball inside, up and under.
Caitlin Lonergan. And I just mentioned how she does such a good job with positioning under the basket, and I like her presence that she commands with the ball. She's given this Montana team really good minutes off the bench.
Dawson able to counter back, and just as Montana takes its first lead a couple minutes ago, now we've had a back and forth with Sac State leading 20-18. Johnson guarded out tight by Scott. Long three off the mark for Montana, but a foul down low.
Looks like there might have been an elbow to the nose.
Foul against Sacramento State number 12, Anna Weibel, her first.
That foul will go against Anna Weibel, her first personal.
Kennedy Nicholas returns for the Hawks.
Looks like they're going to take a second here just to talk things over and sweep the floor. Take a look at the play to make sure there wasn't anything
Flagrant.
That's one way to put it.
I think that it's so hard down there when you're battling. Me being a former player, and you know, sometimes when you have the ball in your hands, your elbows are at right at, I mean, even if you're moving the ball at all, you can pop someone pretty easy without ill intentions of hurting anyone. But I know that officiating, they really watch that down there, and they watch the contact underneath to make sure that it is clean, watching the integrity of the game and trying to make sure that they don't have injuries like that.
You know, you talked about early how you think sometimes they call the women's game a little too tightly.
Actually, I think that they let a lot more go in the women's game than the men's. If we're looking to compare, and normally I wouldn't compare, but we're all at Reno. But I think what you have to learn as a player is, what is the style? What is the calling? How is it gonna? What are you gonna be able to get away with? And as a player, you have to look at that and understand what you're working with both personnel and your officiating.
So if you're a low post player for Montana, they play more of a half-court offense. They've pushed it a fair amount in this game, but try to play more of a half-court set. What do you want in terms of how a game is called to be able to maximize what you can do?
Oh, that's hard. I think you want consistency, John, on both ends of the floor. What's hard is when you can get away with something, but then you get called. I think we're going to take a look there at
some of the movement in the paint for Montana. They've certainly been able to get into the paint early, scored 10 points in the paint. So Johnson at the line, she'll shoot 2. First one is up and in. Johnson, a health and human performance major at the university. Hits both free throws. Talk about somebody who's used to winning. She was all-state in volleyball, basketball, and softball, playing for Capitol High School out of Helena. A competitor, to say the least, Mackenzie Johnston.
Absolutely, and I do like that you brought up what she was working on in school and majoring in. I mean, we do have to remember they're student athletes, and they're going to school in addition to playing this game that we love, and they're missing some school this week.
No doubt about that. Inside, Michaela Isaac had the ball taken away from her, and the Hornets trying to push it back quick the other way. Johnson turns on the Jets, going to drive and pop outside. Long three, in and out.
Sac State owning the edge on the boards early against this Montana team.
Love the physical man-to-man that Sac State plays. Inside, drive it and count it for Lonergan.
Again, you look at Lonergan's positioning, but it's all about passing angles too. That was a nice pass and catch.
Quick back the other way. Johnson lays it up and in.
You can't be on your heels with this Sac State team because they will just take it right at you, John.
Well, again, you talk about what Coach Harkleroad said, and they want to physically and mentally beat people with their style. And again, it's a test of attrition. Anytime you play the Hornets, good pass inside, count it, and put it up for the Lady Grizz.
So nice. Isaac does such a great job of keeping the ball up high. She doesn't bring it down where a guard could strip it.
Johnson, and she's feeling it. Sac State retakes the lead, 25-24, and the Lady Grizz are going to, coming out of the timeout, Hornets able to play that press. Lady Grizz do a good job of beating it though. 2-on-1, free throw jumper, in and out. Friend able to corral the rebound. Dawson. Jackknife attempt in the lane is off the mark for the Hornets, and the Lady Grizz back the other way. 3-on-1, kick out.
Travel.
That's going to be a travel.
Nora Click with the slightly slow release with her shot, and oftentimes she has that delay where she's been called for travel a couple times this year.
Nicholas inside, trying to give it up to Johnson, who's off the mark. Click on the angle right, going to spread it in the corner over to Schoening.
Again, Lonergan really wanting the ball on the inside, getting close to 3 seconds of the key down there.
Offensive rebound for Montana.
Those are so critical, John, those offensive boards, giving another look offensively.
7th of the game for Montana. The Lady Grizz take advantage as Lonergan able to score.
6 points for Lonergan in 9 minutes of action.
Deep three. Harris able to give Sac State a 28-26 lead. And it's amazing sometimes when you look at Sac State, Krista, because really the three-point line to them is a mere formality. They'll take shots virtually from anywhere inside of the Big Sky logo.
So true, John. They're very balanced, though, on the offensive end. You take a look at their, Maranne has 11, but they have 5 other girls that have scored. And if you're Coach Harkleroad, you're wanting that. You're wanting more different players to step up and more balance.
Johnson trying to go to the hoop. She'll be fouled.
Foul against Montana, number 34, Maddie Schoening, her first personal, first team foul.
Schoening will pick up her first personal.
At the line for Sacramento State, number 22, Maranne Johnson, shooting 2.
Johnson steps to the line. We've talked about it so many times, Krista, as she misses the first, but there's probably no more decorated three-point shooter or scorer in the Big Sky than Maranne Johnson with the career record she's set.
I know. I look at that overtime loss to NAU that they had. She played 43 minutes. She had 41 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 steals, and 1 block. How's that for a stat line?
Complete player, however, she's unable to complete either free throw attempt.
Averaging over 16 points a game, though, 6.3 rebounds, 3 assists. She's definitely been a leader for them on both ends of the floor.
She's somebody who definitely knows how to fill up an official book. There's no doubt about that. Lady Grizz trying to get that inside-out action you've talked so much about, Krista. Near steal is Johnson nearly into the media.
4 seconds on the shot clock. Montana's going to have to put something up fairly quickly.
What do you like coming out of a quick shot clock situation like this as a player?
I'd like a screen and, well, that'll do.
A lob pass will work in that case.
That will work.
Lonergan able to get the score, and we're tied at 28.
Boy, she has been an offensive spark for Montana early.
Driving hard and off the glass, the shot off the mark. Back the other way, and the Lady Grizz retake the lead.
Nice finish by Maddie Schoening.
Free throw line, Harris going to drive. 17 on the shot. Johnson going to take the free throw jumper and score it.
Maranne feeling it on the offensive end. I mean, that's 13 for her.
And we've still got 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Sierra Anderson going to try and swing it around the top of the line for Montana. 15 on the shot clock for the Lady Grizz. Long 2-point jumpers off the mark. Johnson with a rebound. She's done everything except sell programs and get people boxes of popcorn here in this first half. Shot is off the mark.
Love it, John. Both of these teams ending on the road the week before coming into Reno. We have Sac State that went to North Dakota and Northern Colorado. In Montana at Weber and Idaho State. That's not easy to go on the road the week before Reno. I think the teams, actually, I know Montana came right from Pocatello to Reno. Sac State, the only team that really has the advantage with busing. They're our only Big Sky team that would bus.
About 90 minutes away or so from Reno. Shot off the mark in the paint and a foul down low, and
you see that so much. You miss a shot and then you turn around and foul.
The classic frustration foul.
I had a few of those in my career, John.
Just a few.
I led the Lady Grizz in fouls 1 year. I was close the other years.
Everybody's got to fill up the stat sheet.
That's
somewhere
right. We all do what we can.
Yep. Everybody's got a team role, as it's going to be another foul on Montana.
Foul against the Lady Grizz, number 4, Sierra Anderson, her first personal, 13 foul.
And I was always right. The officials were never right. I never fouled, actually.
Well, time certainly can breed a difference of opinions in many different quarters.
Such a politically correct answer there, John.
24 seconds on the shot clock as the Hornets going to reset. Driving inside, and Hannah Friend will be fouled going to the line. A little shook up on that play.
Foul against the Lady Grizz, number 44 in the Stockholm, her first, 4th team foul. At the line for Sacramento State, number 32, Hannah Friend, shooting 2.
Friend, who's a native of San Clemente, California. Definitely worse places in the world than that. In the Southern California coast, first free throws off the mark.
She has been a force for Sac State this year.
1-2.
Hornets retake the lead, 31-30. Under 2.5 to go here in this second quarter. Lady Grizz get it across midcourt. Fast break, 2-on-1 to the hoop and
Aileen Nicholson, the sophomore out of Malta.
Deep three, that's going to be well off the mark. One thing when you play Sac State, you got to be able to corral long rebounds as the Hornets get to it and another chance to score.
And it is challenging as a big underneath with the way these balls do bounce off and the long rebounds. You nailed it there, John. It's a challenge.
A lot of contact and a no call. Baseline J off the mark for the Lady Grizz, but Golagowski able to get her own rebound, and it turns into a three by Sierra Anderson.
Second chance opportunities are so critical. And Sierra Anderson knocking down the big three for Montana.
Quick back the other way. Reagan Roan comes from a basketball family. Her dad's the assistant head coach at Colorado under Tad Boyle. 35-34 Montana. Anderson in the lane. Baseline 10-footer is going to be short and off the mark, but a foul called down low.
Haley Nicholson getting her own rebound and just resilient in her effort. She's going to go to the line for that.
Talk about the Lady Grizz tradition and players coming into the program expecting to win. Nicholson, a player who, again, was a winner in high school, part of a strong Malta high school program. Won a state title, most valuable player in the classification as a senior.
Long line of Malta blood to Montana. I know in my career I played with 3 girls from Malta: Greta Koss, Skyla Cisco, Linda Cummings. I mean, this is a small town, John.
Yeah.
In eastern Montana. Again, Haley teammates with Sophia Stiles. They just play a lot of basketball back east.
37-34 Montana. Coming up on a minute left to play in the first half. At halftime, we'll have a full recap. We'll also have a preview of our next game, which is Idaho State, Southern Utah, the 5-12 matchup. Drive it inside, put it up. No good, but heading to the line is Johnson.
Coach Swain not happy with that foul. You want to try to make them earn it if you're Montana.
At the line for Sacramento State, number 22, Maranne Johnson, shooting 2.
Johnson's first, up and in. Second one is also good.
We have yet to see Jace Henderson for Montana suffering an ankle sprain. Of course, she was a starter all year for Montana. She was taped up and warming up, but it doesn't look like she is going to be able to go.
Shot blocked, but picking it up and taking advantage is Nora Click. Montana back up to a 3-point lead. Lady Grizz, because of that quick score, will have one more opportunity on offense. Long 2 is up and in for Roan.
She's come on the offensive end here with 7 points.
Definitely a solid heads-up bench player for Bunkie Harkleroad's squad.
3 for 4 from the field. Nice minutes off the bench.
10 on the game clock. Lady Grizz trying to get some action. Deep 3 for Montana's off the mark. Hornets get the rebound. They're going to try to push quick. Half-court shot for Johnson, off the mark. And again, close as we expected here at halftime, Krista, as Montana will head into the half.
Montana State. So again, seeding doesn't really matter if you're Idaho State. They just have that nitty-gritty style of play, tough defensive strategy.
Should be a fun game coming up at 2:30, but we've got a great game going on right here. And right now, as Sac State able to open up the half with a score. Friend able to put in the lay-in, and the Hornets reclaim the lead just like that, 40-39. Lady Grizz again trying to feed the post. They got a lot of success with that late in the half, and they get an early score.
Interesting that they isolate Mackenzie Johnston down low, just looking for a little bit of the height mismatch there with Tiara Scott.
Deep 3, Friend gonna be off the mark. Nicholson with the rebound, and the Lady Grizz trying to pick up the tempo. Quarter 3.
Again, just not able to find offensive flow, and those offensive boards are so critical. Montana wants to command presence in this third quarter. They've got to get those rebounds.
Well, another thing they've got is what they just got, and that's steals and forcing turnovers. Sac State had a good amount of turnovers in the first half. Deep 3, this one gonna convert for Montana. Goligowski able to convert, and the Lady Grizz back with a 44-40 lead.
Big 3-point shot by Taylor.
Johnson up and off the glass and off the mark.
Taylor Goligowski, definitely the difference maker against Montana State, home in Missoula. Big win in front of 4,500 plus fans, and she made some big shots, John.
3-pointer in and out for Montana. Again, most of Montana's points have been scored in the paint today. Had a 28-16 advantage in that category in the first half.
They like that mismatch or isolating Mackenzie Johnston down low too. So even though their points have come within the paint or down low, Johnston has 12 points, 12 of this 44, and she's done a great job underneath. However, taking a look at Montana, it's very spread, John. When you take a look at Nicholson with 5, Golgoloski with 5, Click with 5, Lonergan with 8.
Tara Scott gonna set at the free throw line, 76% shooter, makes her first.
Tara Scott is who's guarding Mackenzie Johnston, so you can see Coach Swain wanting that rotation where Mackenzie Johnston with those extra inches is taking it to her.
You know, we talk about height so much in basketball, and obviously it's an advantage, there's no doubt about that, but it seems more and more as the game moves forward, as Scott misses the second free throw, that speed has really become the great equalizer in that equation.
I absolutely agree with you. I don't think height is that big of a factor in the Big Sky Conference. I really don't.
Ball down low, turnover for the Lady Grizz. Sac State tries to take advantage. Push the ball quick the other way. Friend on the off the glass.
We see Jace Henderson out there for the first time.
Interesting to watch how she responds as the ball tipped out of bounds.
I struggle with the taping on the ankles only from a personal experience of blowing my knee twice. You tape up those ankles and you go to roll it, what's gonna go?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a different approach. Obviously, she had a pretty high ankle sprain, and they got to do what they can to get her on the court, but there's a lot of different philosophies there on how to handle taping.
.44-41 lead for Montana. See how the Lady Grizz work in a half-court set. Henderson inside, shots up and no good. Offensive rebound though for the Lady Grizz.
Shot clock is not going to reset as the ball did not touch the rim.
Foul in the paint. The Lady Grizz will shoot free throws as Johnston at the line.
First team foul at the line for the Lady Grizz.
First free throw in and out for the 78% free throw shooter. Averaged over 11 points a game for Montana this season. Second one is up and in, and it's a 4-point lead for the Lady Grizz.
They're definitely a better team with Johnston on the floor. She's played over 35 minutes a game, so you don't see her come out very often, John.
Up top, Roan trying to work things. Friend now just going to take it to the hoop and lays it up and in on the floater.
What a nice take. She had 2 defenders hanging on her. I thought she was going to take that 3.
That's the one thing Sac State just provides is multiple offensive looks. You know, we know they love to take the 3 ball, but proficient in all areas of the court. 3 ball back the other way for the Lady Grizz.
Mackenzie Johnston coming on strong.
Johnston trying to get hot. She's given Montana a 5-point lead, 48-43. Johnson gonna work it around to Roan. Roan thought about driving, she's cut off. Free throw jumper off the mark for Scott. Good defensive set there for Montana.
Oh, that's a risky pass right there if you're Golgoloski.
Three-pointer back the other way. That's going to be off the mark.
When you have the lead in that situation, John, I struggle with that pass. You want to make sure that you keep your momentum going if you're Montana on the offensive end.
Yeah.
But you take a look at turnovers. Montana has only turned over, well, they're turned over the ball 5 times, but they've done a good job taking care of the ball thus far.
And against a team like Sac State that's going to apply a lot of on-ball pressure, definitely a strong positive for this Lady Grizz squad today. Deep 3 for the Lady Grizz, off the mark. Saw Henderson trying to get down low and get that ball. Talked about how many multi-sport athletes there are for both teams in this game, but
Jace played volleyball actually for Montana before switching over to basketball. Billings senior product. She has just been such a lift for this team on both ends of the floor.
Lady Grizz have gotten a few outstanding people out of Billings senior over the years.
They have. Linda Weiler, who's a good friend of mine, Jacobson now, and she was a Billings senior Bronc. I know she's listening. Heck of a player for Montana.
Johnson with 12 on the shot clock, gonna go up and under for the score.
She just has that quick first step, and it's difficult to defend. We've seen some big games from her offensively as of late in the latter half of conference. She has really come on strong.
Deep three for Montana, it's off the mark. Henderson with the rebound, gonna try to go up and under. She's sent to the floor, however, able to vacuum it up is Johnson, who scores.
I don't think Jace quite knew where she was. However, nice rebound put back by Isaac, who isn't an offensive, I don't want to say threat, she just doesn't take very many shots. Again, anytime you can take 2 or 3 shots and get after it on the rebounding.
Block going to be called on Montana. We'll take a break. Montana with a 5-point lead. We're midway through the third quarter. Back in a moment to Reno on Pluto TV. The Lady Grizz with a 5-point lead, 50-45. John Oglesby alongside Krista Redpath. Krista, these moments in the second half of a first-round tournament game always fraught with tension, especially when it's 2 equal foes. But what are the little things that happen in this time in a ball game that can make a big impact on a final score?
Well, I do think second chance opportunities are huge. Who's going to get after it on the boards? I think rebounding is big, and you've seen Montana widen the gap slightly as they have the edge, 33 to 26. I think rebounding, but also just making shots at this point. Who's going to come out? Who's going to be the hot hand that is going to come out and make some key shots here for either team, as the lead has teetered Montana with 4 points, but that's not much.
20 seconds on the shot clock for the Lady Grizz. They try to go high-low and do.
I have no idea how Lonergan got that up. 3 defenders hanging on her.
Like life, it's all about the timing.
Absolutely.
Johnson back the other way for Sac State. On the elbow, she's going to kick it out. 16 on the shot clock. Johnson sets for a deep 3 and converts.
It's just so pure. Maranne, again, it's hard to guard her, because she can spot up for the 3 and she can also take it to the hole. We've noticed Maranne has been taking it to the hole, so if you sag off, there she shows her different dimensions of being a player.
Johnson, who, again, a threat from any part of the court and also a solid defender. Sac State was solid defense. I think that's a misconception people have sometimes, that think Sac State isn't about defense, but they actually play a really physical style.
And I also think all bets are off when you're here at Reno. Your style, you really don't have a lot of room for being lax on either end of the court.
Hannah Friend able to convert, and it's a one-point ball game, 52-51. Johnston with 20 on the shot clock, gonna try to drive on Justice Dawson. And it's an offensive foul.
Third team foul. Tiara Scott next in the game for Sacramento State.
Still, you feel right now, Krista, Sac State with some momentum. Great teams always close out quarters. It's going to be very important to see how both of these teams, rather, close out this one.
Isaac with a nice block.
Returns for the Hornets.
Possession will remain with Sac State.
Sac State, a team that really likes those on-ball screens, though, and you do have to either commit, push through them, hedge them. You got to figure out either way. You got to communicate.
Foul down low before the shot.
Foul against Montana, number 23, Taylor
Golagowski, who
Hornet basketball.
picks up a foul. Fresh shot clock for the Hornets. They get it in. Hand the ball off to Harris. Now backside over to Scott.
Dangerous pass. If you're Sac State, shot clock ticking down here at 10.
Back out to Johnson, who will jack it from three.
Oh, Maranne!
And just like that, Sac State.
And that's what I was
Back in
talking
the
about,
lead.
John. Who is going to command their presence on the offensive end and step up and make big shots when it counts?
54-52, Sacramento State. Shot up and in, got it. Lonergan's fouled. She's going to go to the line as the game is tied once again.
Just a strong move by Lonergan down low.
At the line for Montana, number 30, Caitlin Lonergan, shooting just one.
Lonergan, once again, the sophomore from Bozeman, unable to convert the and one, but we're tied once again. Lady Grizz able to get the ball back on a steal. Down inside, low, up and in.
Wow. Talk about the play of Maddie Shonen with that steal and keeping their composure enough to find Isaac. We've had a turn of events right now, John.
Lady Grizz able to get 4 easy points. Thanks to a steal, quick move. Isaac's free throw up and in, and the Lady Grizz back on top by 3. This is exactly what you want out of an 8-9 matchup.
Both teams fairly evenly matched in terms of records.
Friend from the corner, that's off the mark.
Montana has a couple more conference wins than Sac State, but again, both teams have struggled at times, but we've talked about the struggle, but they've also showed some offensive moments where they've been able to put it together on both ends of the floor.
Scott going to the hoop for Sac State, and she's fouled.
Foul against Montana, number 34, Maddie Shonen, for third personal, 5th team foul.
Still, as you said, been a turn of events, though, as Montana with a 5-point lead. Scott trying to pause the hemorrhaging for the moment. First free throw is off the front of the iron and no good.
Back in for Lady Grizz, number 12,
Second free throw's up and in.
See Sac State putting on a little full court pressure here.
Shot up and off the mark, wide right. But the Lady Grizz able to recover those second chance opportunities, Krista.
That was a big rebound by Caitlin Lonergan right there.
And an even bigger score for Golagowski as Montana stretched the lead to 6. Under 20 seconds to go in the third quarter.
It's who's going to get those second chance opportunities. And that's hustle, John.
Lady Grizz with a player down. Johnson with the ball out top. 4 seconds. Johnson, floater in the lanes, off the mark. She'll get one more shot opportunity, and that's how the third quarter ends. Montana lost the lead, but the Lady Grizz make a run at the end of the third quarter. They lead by 6. We got the fourth quarter coming up on Pluto TV. A 42-24 advantage in the paint for Montana. That's really been the difference maker for the Lady Grizz, Krista.
They have done a good job. Again, isolating Mackenzie Johnston down low. Lonergan has made some really big shots. Again, right there.
Continue to pound the paint. We talked about towards the end of the first half what team would be able to set the tempo. And over the last 5 minutes of this game or so, it has been the University of Montana. 8-point lead for the Lady Grizz as they go back the other way to the paint, and the bank is open for the University of Montana today.
It's so interesting, though. Basketball is such a game of momentum shifts. Right now it favors Montana, and it seems like all things are going well. Both of these teams, though, John, have taken care of the basketball. We've only had 13 turnovers total between teams, and we've seen both of these teams blow up this year in terms of turnovers, and they're doing a great job this afternoon of taking care of the ball.
Maranne Johnson hits a 3 from NBA range. Montana had stretched the lead to double digits, but it's back down to 7, 65-58 for the moment. Lady Grizz kick out, 3 balls off the mark. Good rebound inside, and
Huge rebound by Jace Henderson. Rebound put back.
Friend's gonna jack it from 3. That's off the mark, but the offensive rebound, Johnson gets it.
Maranne, the senior leader, she is not going away anytime soon.
Long ball off the mark once again, and Montana gonna try to stretch the lead to double digits.
Timeout, Montana.
Lady Grizz will call a 30-second timeout, and it will extend to a full. The Lady Grizz trying to advance to a second round.
And the assist to Isaac.
And you've definitely been a part of a lot of winning games at Big Sky tournaments. It's those hustle plays that really count in the final score.
Absolutely. Your regular season wins and losses goes away, and you're playing just to stay in.
Inside Montana, shots off the mark. Johnson gonna push it the other way. 2 on 3, she's gotta dribble it out. Gonna gun it from 3, off the mark.
Montana got lucky there. They have to know where Maranne is at all times. 27 points.
Jump ball, possession will stay with the Hornets. You know, you take a look at Sac State right now, Krista, we're under 8 minutes to go. Montana with a 9-point lead. How do you start to put this thing back together to get yourself back in contention? Is this lead starting to stretch a little bit uncomfortably?
Absolutely. I think that you just got to make shots. Basketball is a much easier game when the ball goes in the hole. And I think if you're Sac State, just like that, they got to look for their opportunities where they can get them. You know, Kennedy Nicholas, 6'3" sophomore.
Lady Grizz able to get it across in time. Set for the 3, it's off the mark. And maybe this is the start to the run that Sac State needs.
That wasn't great shot selection for Montana.
Just like that, it's back to a 4-point game. A quick run for Sacramento State forces a timeout. It's going to go full, and we will take it as well. We're going to invite you to come on back to Pluto. It's a 67-63 lead for Montana, and we're back in just a moment.
Showing some of their vulnerability in shot selection down the stretch. And again, against a team like Sac State, they will come right back at you with many weapons.
Hornets tried for the steal. It's going to be a jump ball. The Lady Grizz will keep possession. That's that gambling go for broke style that Sac State will play when there are maybe some inadvertent passes thrown in the midcourt.
They're a relentless team, and we've seen that. Again, feeling it just a little bit. Last year they lose in overtime to Weber State. There might be some feel there, John, of, hey, you know, we've been here. We almost won last year.
They've been a part of close games every year they've been here in Reno's. The Grizz go back to the breadbasket and able to get some points in the paint to extend the lead back up to 6. Nice block. Golagowski, quick back the other way for the Lady Grizz.
Good decision by Taylor.
Coming up on 6 minutes left in the game. Foul on Sac State.
I'm not sure about that call. I didn't see it from this angle, John. Was there hand contact?
Oh no, it's so tough when you're not exactly on the plane.
Right. We haven't had fouls that have come into play yet, though, with neither team being in the bonus
Hasn't
yet.
been a serious storyline as of yet. Under 6 minutes to go. Montana with a 6-point lead, though. We'll see if it changes. Out top, Schoening tries to drive. She's fouled going to the hoop.
Foul against the Hornets, number 32, Anna Fran, her third personal, second team foul.
And foul trouble has not come into play yet. Schoening with 3 fouls. And Friend with 3.
First free throw is up and in for Schoening. You know, for so many years, this Montana program was really a farm system as a freshman, sophomore. You know, there was such a glut of great players. They were juniors and seniors. Schoening played in all 30 games as a freshman in the 16-17 season. She's a sophomore now, but kind of showed how there was a bit of a roster remake after Rob Selvig left the program.
Schoening has had a lot of minutes and has provided good offensive sparks at time. I think Coach Swain would like to see more consistency from her, but she plays a lot of minutes, John. She really gets after it on the defensive end as well.
Sac State goes high-low and able to get points for Friend. Make that Nicholas, rather. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in regulation. Ball's deflected out of bounds. Will remain with Montana.
Justice Dawson, playing on Harris action for Sacramento State.
Coming up right after the game, Krista and I will be joined by the winning head coach. Montana with the 6-point lead and make it 8 as up and under is Lonergan.
Huge baskets by Caitlin Lonergan down the stretch.
3 balls, gonna be short and off the mark. Lonergan with the rebound. And as the Lady Grizz lead now up to 8, how does your offensive mentality maybe change as we're under 5 minutes to play?
Got to manage the shot clock. Take good shots. You don't want to come down and fire, which is something they did early on. And Coach Swain called a timeout, and I'm sure she took it to him and said, hey, manage the shot clock. Good shot selection, but also just getting after it. Hustle plays and on the board. You saw Caitlin Lonergan coming up with a big rebound down here. You have to be the team that's willing to get on the floor and get after the loose ball, as someone's season's going to end here in under 5 minutes.
Lady Grizz with a fresh shot clock. Click out on the free throw line. Now an elbow jumper off the mark for Golagowski.
Your Sac State, there's still quite a bit of time from one standpoint, but you've got to start making some baskets here.
Dawson, top of the three-point line. They're going to try to go high-low to Nicholas. And a foul called on the Lady Grizz.
Foul against the Lady Grizz, number 3, Caitlin Lonergan, her second personal first team foul.
A lot of physicality down low.
Hornets get it in to Friend, who's able to convert on the nice play out of bounds.
Great play by Sac State, taking advantage of the miscommunication on defense for Montana. Hannah Friend has been such a fun player to watch.
She's like a lot of Sac State players. Her game just so multi-dimensional as Lonergan comes back.
I like the long lankiness, though, of Hannah Friend. Again, only a sophomore, so Sac State will be able to build around her in the years to come.
Shot off the mark. Sac State able to corral the rebound, though, as we're under 3.5 to play. Ball tipped away. Dawson with 15 on the shot clock, going to try to feed low into Nicholas. Shot off the mark. Offensive rebound, though, and she's able to put it up and in.
That was such a great pass, though, by Maranne Johnson. Sensing that there wasn't any help side defense. Again, second chance opportunities, though, for Sac State.
Under 3 to play. Lonergan. Lady Grizz trying to work it around the horn. Turn away 18-footer right there. What a shot.
Cool and collected, Mackenzie Johnston.
Under 2.5 to play, steal for Montana. Lady Grizz on the run. Fast break 4-on-3. Ahead. Shot off the mark, but off the glass again, off the mark. And a foul down low on the Lady Grizz.
Those are baskets you definitely want to make on the fast break.
After you get the offensive rebound, is that the perspective from your point of view where maybe you would want to kick it out and reset, burn a little time?
I know, I struggle with that. That's a really good question, John. As a player out there compared to an analyst, as an analyst, I've showed their assertiveness and claimed their stake in the road to Reno.
Be interesting to see how they respond coming up on Wednesday. Still have to wait to see who they will meet. Backside lay-in by Nicholas.
If you're Montana, I don't think you really want to let that ball be so passed easily inside.
6 points is Montana's lead. Under 1:50 to play. 10 on the shot clock for the Lady Grizz. Long jumper, three-pointer.
Big basket right there for Montana. Maddie Schoening, I saw her give herself a nice hand clap. She was really upset she missed that fast break pass from Mackenzie Johnston. She made up for it just now.
Lady Grizz with a 9-point lead, 80-71. Montana 2-0 on the season when they've scored over 80 points. Trying to push it to 3-0 as Johnston is fouled.
Number 32, Hannah Friend, her third personal.
might take a look at the score and think, okay, Montana has it in the bag, but not against a team like Sac State, because they can get back, and they're a team that has made it at the three-point line, and this could shift very quickly.
Second free throw is up and rattles in. Montana last won a Big Sky tournament game in 2016. They beat NAU in a first-round matchup here in Reno and then lost in the quarterfinal. Three-pointer off the mark. Offensive opportunity for Scott on the second chance. Rattles in and out.
Sac State needed to score on that possession, John.
Have 63 ticks left in this game. The Lady Grizz with an 11-point lead. And as Johnson goes to the line to shoot free throws, you know, we talk about all the success that Montana's had, but there has been a little bit of a reset of expectations for this program in a sense because of the youth, the changeover in coaching. How big is a win here today if the Lady Grizz are able to pull it off?
Absolutely huge for this program. I mean, they have had to reinvent themselves. Obviously, losing Kaylee Valley 2 years in a row to ACL injuries, and she's a player you build your program all around. And Alicia Sims was also another dagger. So if you're Montana, this is huge for your program.
Lead down to 10, but a foul, and the Lady Grizz wants to the line to shoot free throws.
Sac State came back with that three-point shot.
Johnson picks up her fourth foul. Golagowski at the free throw line, and she makes the first.
Had some big nights by Maranne Johnson and Mackenzie Johnston. Similar names. 27 and 28 points respectively.
Dawson drives into the paint. Friend out top, gonna take a long three. It's up and off the mark. Steal back by Sac State. Three-pointer off the mark for Johnson. Johnson gonna take a three again. This time she converts, and it's a shot that takes the Montana lead down to 8.
And that's what Sac State does, though. They will get after it. They're scrappy. I always think of them as pesky Hornets, where they get in there and they...
At the tail of this game will really be written on how Montana was able to assert themselves in the half court, specifically in the paint.
I've called so many close games here in Reno over the past, this is my 3rd year.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to just wrap it up and say they have it in the bag, because there has been some last surges by teams. But I think it's safe to say Montana can make their free throws. They're going to do this.
Schoening at the line to shoot 2, an 85% shooter on the season. Here's kind of an impressive factoid. Let's see if you can guess this one. Who was the last Lady Grizz player before Schoening to start the first game of the season as a freshman?
Mackenzie Johnston?
Was Katie Baker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A few years ago.
Taking it way back.
But
tremendous career by Katie Baker. Good fact, John. You got me there.
That shows.
Earn it.
Near steal.
Oh. Right there. Foul.
19.6 seconds left in this game. Remind you, coming up at 2:35, we'll have 5th seed Idaho State, 12th seed Southern Utah. Deep three attempt by Justice Dawson. She's able to convert. Lead down to 7 for the Lady Grizz. Like you said, with the way Sac State plays, you don't feel truly confident until the final buzzer sounds.
And I have talked a lot about Maranne, and I have watched her over the years. And as this game does come to a close, I want to make sure that I give her a shout out, because she has had a tremendous career. She's been a lot of fun to watch.
that's going to wrap it up. Final score, the University of Montana 87, Sacramento State 80. Lady Grizzle advanced to a matchup on Wednesday against Northern Colorado. We'll set here for Montana head coach Shannon Schwan to join us in just a moment. But before we do that, Krista, what are a couple takeaways you have from this game?
Well, what a fight. I think Montana made shots when they needed to. I think that the difference maker too was the play of Caitlin Lonergan, and I want to ask